Chapter 1, Setting Sail. The sun dipped low on the horizon as the majestic ship prepared to embark on its voyage across the boundless sea. Excitement crackled in the air like static electricity, mingling with the salty scent of the ocean breeze. As the passengers shuffled aboard, anticipation danced in their eyes, each one eager for the adventures that awaited beyond the horizon. Among them, a group of friends stood near the railing, their voices a chorus of excitement. "Can you believe we're finally setting sail?" exclaimed one, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "It's like something out of a dream," another replied, her gaze fixed on the vast expanse of water stretching out before them. But amidst the chatter and laughter, a sense of unease lingered in the air, a subtle undercurrent of tension that whispered of things unseen. As the ship slowly pulled away from the dock, a lone figure stood on the shore, watching with a mixture of longing and apprehension. They knew that once the ship disappeared beyond the horizon, there would be no turning back. On board, the crew bustled about, their movements precise and practiced as they prepared the ship for its journey. But beneath their professional demeanor, a sense of anticipation tinged with trepidation simmered just below the surface. As the last traces of land faded from view, a hush fell over the deck, the only sound the rhythmic thrum of the ship's engines as it forged ahead into the unknown. And so, with the promise of adventure beckoning on the horizon, the ship sailed forth into the endless expanse of the sea, its fate intertwined with the ebb and flow of the tide. Chapter 2, A Divide at Sea. As the days stretched on, the atmosphere aboard the ship grew increasingly tense, marred by the palpable divide between the passengers from different walks of life. In the opulent cabins of the upper deck, the wealthy elite lounged in luxury, their disdain for those below evident in every glance and gesture. Meanwhile, in the cramped quarters of the lower decks, a different scene unfolded. Here, the working-class passengers huddled together, their faces etched with determination and resilience in the face of adversity. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a group of well-dressed individuals gathered in the ship's elegant dining hall, their laughter ringing out like hollow bells. "I simply cannot fathom why they allow such riffraff on board," remarked a woman with a disdainful sniff. "Indeed," agreed a man, his tone dripping with condescension. "One would think they would have the decency to stay in their place." But unbeknownst to them, their conversation did not go unnoticed. From the shadows, a young woman from the lower decks listened intently, her fists clenched in silent fury. As the night wore on, tensions simmered beneath the surface, threatening to boil over at any moment. And in the darkness of the lower decks, whispers of rebellion floated through the air like ghosts, their words a rallying cry for those who had been pushed to the brink. But amidst the turmoil, a glimmer of hope emerged. For even as the divide between rich and poor seemed insurmountable, there were those who refused to be bound by the chains of prejudice and privilege. And so, as the moon cast its silvery light upon the restless sea, the battle lines were drawn, setting the stage for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the ship. Chapter 3, Shadows on the Deck. As the moon rose high in the night sky, casting eerie shadows across the deck of the ship, a sense of unease settled over the passengers and crew alike. Whispers of strange sightings and unexplained phenomena spread like wildfire, sending shivers down the spines of even the most hardened sailors. In the dim light of the lanterns, a group of crew members huddled together, their faces drawn with concern. "Did you hear about the shadows people have been seeing?" one whispered, casting a nervous glance over his shoulder. I heard they move on their own, slithering across the deck like serpents," another replied, his voice trembling with fear. But amidst the fear and uncertainty, there were those who refused to be cowed by superstition. On the upper deck, a pair of passengers stood gazing out at the sea, their expressions determined. "We can't let a few shadows scare us into submission," one said, her voice ringing with conviction. "You're right," her companion agreed, clenching his fists with determination. "We need to stay vigilant and find out what's really going on." Meanwhile, down below in the depths of the ship, a lone figure prowled the corridors, his eyes gleaming with malice. "They think they can defy us," he muttered to himself, a sinister smile twisting his lips. "But they'll soon learn that some shadows are more than they appear." As the night wore on, the shadows on the deck seemed to grow darker, more menacing, as if they were alive and watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And so, as the ship sailed further into the night, the passengers and crew remained on edge, their nerves stretched taut like the rigging of a ship in a storm. Little did they know that the true danger lurked not in the shadows themselves, but in the sinister force manipulating them from the shadows. Chapter 4: The Missing Manual. As the sun dipped below the horizon, signaling the onset of another night at sea, a sense of foreboding settled over the ship. In the captain's quarters, Captain James pored over the navigation charts, his brow furrowed with concern. "Something doesn't feel right," he muttered to his first mate, who stood beside him, scanning the horizon for any signs of trouble. "I agree, Captain," the first mate replied, his voice tense. But what could it be? Before Captain James could respond, a frantic crew member burst into the room, his face pale with fear. "The manual, Captain," he gasped, his words tumbling out in a rush. "It's gone." Captain James's heart sank as he realized the gravity of the situation. Without the manual detailing the ship's controls, they were adrift at sea, at the mercy of the elements. "We need to find it," he declared, his voice steely with determination. "Search every inch of this ship until we locate it." And so, the crew sprang into action, scouring every nook and cranny of the vessel in search of the missing manual. But as the hours passed and their efforts proved fruitless, a sense of despair settled over the ship like a thick fog. In the darkness of the night, whispers of mutiny floated through the air, as fear and uncertainty gripped the hearts of all on board. "We're doomed," one crew member muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. But Captain James refused to give up hope. With each passing moment, his resolve only strengthened, as he vowed to do whatever it took to save his ship and crew from certain disaster. Chapter 5: A Beacon of Hope. In the dimly lit depths of the ship, where shadows danced in the flickering light of lanterns, a young boy named Tommy wandered alone. Introverted and curious by nature, he often spent his time exploring the hidden corners of the vessel, seeking solace in the mysteries of the unknown. One day, as he ventured into the haunted depths of the ship's basement, Tommy stumbled upon the missing manual tucked away amidst a pile of forgotten relics. Though he had never dreamt of finding such a treasure, the thrill of discovery sent a shiver of excitement coursing through his veins. But his triumph was short-lived, as he soon found himself ensnared in a web of obstacles and challenges. The basement, rumored to be haunted by restless spirits, proved a daunting labyrinth of twisted corridors and hidden traps. Undeterred, Tommy pressed on, his determination outweighing his fear as he navigated the treacherous maze. With each step, he grew closer to his goal, his heart pounding with anticipation as he finally laid eyes upon the missing manual. Meanwhile, on the upper decks of the ship, the crew and affluent passengers alike were thrown into a state of shock and disbelief at the news of Tommy's discovery. How could a mere child from the lower class stumble upon such a crucial piece of equipment? But as the reality of the situation sank in, their shock gave way to a mix of emotions: awe, admiration, and perhaps a hint of begrudging respect. For in Tommy, they saw not just a boy from the lower decks, but a beacon of hope amidst the darkness that threatened to engulf them all. Chapter 6: Bridging the Gulf. As word of Tommy's heroic discovery spread throughout the ship, a subtle shift began to take hold among the passengers and crew. Where once there had been division and animosity, now there was unity and camaraderie. In the opulent dining hall, where the wealthy elite once dined in haughty splendor, tables were rearranged to accommodate passengers from all walks of life. Laughter and conversation flowed freely, as boundaries blurred and friendships blossomed. "I never thought I'd see the day when we'd all sit together like this," remarked a man from the upper class, his voice tinged with disbelief. His companion, a woman from the lower decks, nodded in agreement, a smile playing at the corners of her lips. "It just goes to show that we're not so different after all." On the deck of the ship, children from both the upper and lower classes played together without a care in the world, their laughter a testament to the newfound sense of harmony that had taken root on board. Even the crew, once divided by rank and status, now worked seamlessly together, united in their shared mission to keep the ship afloat and its passengers safe. As the days turned into weeks and the ship sailed ever closer to its destination, the class differences that had once seemed insurmountable faded into insignificance. In their place, a sense of solidarity and mutual respect flourished, binding the passengers and crew together in a bond that transcended wealth and privilege. And so, as the ship forged ahead into the unknown, its passengers united in purpose and determination, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together as one.